So Pedro, if we go back a few years, when you decided to start a project around culture, um, can you tell us a little bit what were your pain points? What was the challenges you were facing at that time, and what decided you to start a really conscious culture program?
Yeah. So it really was when we hit the inflection point where we began to realize that the original phase of many startups is about, first of all, figuring out what makes you different, what differentiates you in not only in your business model, but in your execution. And then I think there's a natural sort of oral history and oral transmission of this, where the founding team and the initial hirings play a critical role, basically in being themselves and transmitting those values,
Right.
that purpose, that way of executing in the office, in the cooler, in these spaces that aren't that big and we aren't that many. There's a point where we began to realize that we were hiring people from outside, we were expanding geographically, and that oral transmission and that um, lead by example transmission of culture had probably began to reach um, its maximum in terms of actually being an effective way to transmit, replicate, shape, and generate culture. And so at that point, it became clear to us that we needed to make a conscious effort to preserve and shape our culture. Now, the interesting thing, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, as we continue to chat, is that the whole effort had always been unconscious for us. We didn't even know how to talk about culture. Culture meant entirely different things to who you asked. I mean, even what the culture wasn't potentially the same depending on who you asked. And so at that point, we made a very conscious decision, I think, uniting questions 1 and 2. If culture was the fundamental glue that would allow us to scale and to continue to grow the business, then we needed to consciously work on it, define it, learn how to speak about it, shape it. So that's how we started. I think we realized that we needed to work on culture, and that became a pillar of how we manage the organization and how we seek to drive success in the organization.